eventually your business just becomes a mirror of your own personal standards. And I would say that's quite a sad fact, for a lot of people. Because I meet a lot of great coaches. I mean, exceptional coaches that have taken to stages, coaches that have hundreds of clients, hundreds of thousands, followers, and some even having books and podcasts that reach even further and beyond, some of those markers and metrics. Yet, their ability to grow beyond that stratosphere that they've already created for themselves, they're just butting up against this strange ceiling, whether it's glass because they can see through and they can see the possibility of what's next, or whether it's just a blacked out ceiling and they can't see the possibility. So what are standards? What are personal standards? What are personal rules that are holding someone in place? Because I'm talking to you as a coach, but underneath the the performative nature of being a coach, you are a person, you are a human. And as humans and as people, we travel through life and we come into contact with things that, we have no control over. And certainly no control and not knowing how to handle most, or if not all of that stuff when we were younger. And as always, video today, when I'm recording this, I'm coming from a coaching call and talking to, a beautiful human, about some of this. And we really delved into his past, the things he's already experienced as a child, and then what he is still carrying and how he's still operating based off how his nervous system was programmed from when he was younger. And this is no judgment on any of us, myself, you, or anyone else, of what any of us have experienced. I neither think it's good or bad, even if what we would categorically view in on that situation or number of situations when you were younger as being categorically bad or negative, because I think we can use those experiences for good if you choose it to be so. So I'll apply some context. I don't want this to feel too unanchored or airy-fairy, so to speak. And so the beautiful human that I was just, on a coaching call with, we've finally gotten to the point of where we're about to unwrap, what he saw and what he experienced and what he went through when he was in the sort of the tender years and age of where we all have the opportunity to essentially be brainwashed, to be subconsciously programmed by, you would say, and maybe agree with me, parents first and foremost, family members, whether that's siblings, aunties, uncles, grandparents, and then friends, and then, maybe people that take care of you or lead you at school or wherever else that might sit within, your own experience. And up to 7, 8 years old, and it differs, from person to person, our brain is operating on a completely different frequency to when then we become fully conscious. And that's on purpose. We've adapted and evolved, as humans over the years of where that first pocket of years, that first pocket of experience, it's vital for us to adapt and change to what we're seeing and experience, because our brain is basically saying, hey, whatever you come into contact with, however you're treated, however you're spoken to, whatever life looks and appears to be like, we need to interpret this in such a way of where when you finally have to start doing things for yourself, you know how to survive, not thrive. Remember, survive, not thrive. So then we can maintain this body, this vessel, this level of perspective and sanity for as long as possible. That's it. There's no thinking, well, I want to be the happiest version of myself. I want to achieve this success in the world, contribute this impact, help these sorts of people. No, it's survive. And the particular, chap that I keep referencing, he was telling me about how his parents separated and how it's quite harrowing, when he was younger. Both parents, sort of in and out of, the house and knowing really what to do with each other. And then, this person became, he didn't use this word, but maybe neglected, to a certain extent. And then one of the parents decided to, see and visit other people, outside of the marriage. So he got to view that. And I had to sort of remind them that when we're at a young and tender age of where life is, we're looking up and everything's so big and so exciting, and most things that we're coming into contact with in life is for the first time, right? And then when we're looking down, at things, everything's exciting down there as well. And then all of a sudden, these bigger versions of ourselves, are not around. They're not conscious enough to be taking care of themselves or of us. It does something really interesting to our nervous system. It creates a dysregulation of where we have to manage that stress in the environment. Some people may use a trauma, to the system. Trauma is taking something from a state that it's in and shifting it. And then that adds a dent, a mark on what was current and what was working as far as that conscious being was concerned. And for some, those traumas or those interactions cause a drift into a part of life or an experience of where things never come back to. For this particular person, I helped them reframe that actually these things that did happen, they happened for you. Although we will unpack and we will help you sort of close the gap on a lot of the narrative that you're still saying now from over 40, 50 years ago, through parts of your career that you chose to do, going into the military as an example. Actually, it was really useful for some of this hypervigilance that this person sort of built into their character and way of doing things, because in the military, being hypervigilant is actually really useful. It keeps you on your toes, it keeps you looking around, it keeps you very alert. Unfortunately, the person left the military a long time ago and is still hypervigilant, even though it's not required. So it burns a lot of energy, creates a lot of misalignment with actually the life that they want to lead. And this person today said very openly, very honestly, I want to be able to stop. I want to be able to slow down so I can actually live the life that I want to live. Now take all of that and think about a person that has that, experiences that on a day-to-day basis, and then is attempting to lead other people to their ultimate version of self, to thriving, not just surviving. I'm not going to say it's an impossibility, however, is very challenging, because unless you have exposed those parts of yourself to yourself, and you have closed the gap up on where you are and where you want to be, it is extremely challenging to do that for other people because you're missing so much of the picture and so much of the perspective. So when I'm talking about standards and alignment in yourself and in your own life and bringing that into your coaching business, you have to start with self. I reference a lot, funnels is another bit of software, a lead magnet, a funnel, going to fundamentally change where you can get to and busting through that ceiling, which you probably have met a few times, whether that's the amount of money that you can make. We'll use that as an example. And then you either just stay there and you're just pressing and pressing and pressing against that, but you just can't break through, or whether you hit it and then you drop back down. That ceiling, that blocker to you getting to your next place sits inside of you. You are up against yourself. It's not actually a ceiling. It is you against you. It's the current, what I would like to say, old version of yourself pushing you back down. You're coming face to face. And it's also that same version of you duplicated and holding your ankles and pulling your legs back down to a place of where you have existed for a longer period of time. Hey, don't go. Why would you want to go through that? Look at everything that we've got. Look at everything that we've created. We have survived for all of these years. Why are you going to take yourself away from safe camp? We've got a fire going. We've got some water. We've got some food. Why do you want to go anywhere? Why do you want to leave? Why would you want to leave the idea that everything that we've got here is not enough? Well, that's not it, is it? It's not that everything you've got now, right now isn't enough. It's actually relinquishing yourself of the things that have already happened, and you're carrying this weight and this backpack of rocks and stones that have been on your back and they've been tiring you out for maybe 10, 20, 30, in this particular case, in this example, over 40 years. Carrying around things that you should have changed and that you want to feel differently about for 40 plus years is fucking exhausting. Time to put the bag down. It's time to drop the weight. It's time to let go of those things. It will lighten your experience of yourself, of your life, in the most colossal fashion. But to loop back to you as the person, as the human that is a coach that goes out to serve other people, doing that for yourself, wow, that will amplify, that will, I keep doing this. This is like a peeling back of that beautiful human banana skin, and you're so ripe. You're so perfect to just everything and everyone wants a bite out of that version of you. But you've got to peel back the stuff that isn't needed on the outside anymore and the way that you've been running things. And so that is lifting the standard. That is changing that part of yourself, letting go. Have a great day.